Hey, it's me, Rai, and today I'm going to be talking about granulation medium. I have an old bottle. This is what the current bottle looks like if you're looking for it in stores. I'm going to be using some Winsor Violet and some Ultramarine Violet. On the left, I'm going to be using the watercolor just as it is out of the tube with a little bit of water on 100% cotton paper. And on the right side, I'm going to be mixing granulation medium into my watercolor paint with the water so you could see how it makes the colors, the pigments start to granulate more. The granulation happens and it kind of starts to settle in the paper. I'm using cold press paper because this really shows off the granulation, how it kind of gets stuck in the texture of the paper. This here is the ultramarine violet, and it is a color that naturally granulates already. So I'm going to show you what that looks like without the granulation medium first. The next color is going to be Winsor Violet, and that one is not known for granulating. So it's going to go on a lot more smooth. So on the left side here, I'm painting on some of the ultramarine violet, and you're going to see immediately it just starts to granulate already in the paper. It starts to kind of separate a little, all the pigment kind of is heavy, and it starts to settle into the texture of this cold press paper. Now some artists might want to avoid granulation, but sometimes it's cool, like when you're painting in things that you want rough surfaces for, it's great when the medium already does that. So I poured in about a tablespoon or so of the granulation medium. So like half of it is granulation medium, the other half is a bit of water, and I'm using a bit of the ultramarine violet, and I'm painting it in. So now it has a granulation medium in, and I can't tell the difference too much at first, but as it begins to dry and I leave it alone for a little while, you could see that it's starting to granulate more than it does without the granulation medium. Winsor Violet is not known for granulating. As you can see, it goes in a lot more smooth just on the paper with no granulation. This is where granulation medium can help out a lot, because not every pigment naturally granulates. So if you're somebody that likes granulation, this is where granulation medium will really help you out, is with the colors that don't naturally do it. As you can see, I poured in some granulation medium. I'm getting my Winsor Violet and I'm painting it in. I noticed I painted it in a little dark, so I'm going to remove some of the color out a little. But as it dries, it'll start to granulate and be a lot more uneven. This is what it looks like without granulation medium. This is again the ultramarine violet on top, and then with granulation medium, it's a lot more granulating happening. And then the Winsor Violet, hardly any granulation. And then on the right side, you could see it creates all these cool granulation textures. It's a lot of fun to kind of experiment and see what happens. And what I like about granulation is when it dries, you get something that's always a surprise. You never know how it's going to come out. Let's see what happens when I use my Winsor Violet and I paint it in just normal, just do a quick little wash on the left. And on the right, I paint in water, and then I do a wet into wet. I drop some of the paint into it. Now on the left side, on the bottom, now I'm using granulation medium in my paint and just doing a quick wash with the Winsor Violet. And then on the right, I'm using a lot of this granulation medium with the water. And then I'm going to do a wet into wet. So the top has no granulation mediums and the bottom row has granulation medium. So we're going to compare and see what it looks like when it dries. I'm going to hit this with a blow dryer real quick and we're going to see how it looks up close. This is it with no granulation medium. This bottom one here has granulation medium. You can see a little bit granulation happens. But when you're doing wet into wet, this is what it looks like on top with no granulation medium. And on the bottom one, wet into wet, it granulates a lot. So if you want to really induce the granulation process, it really helps to do the wet into wet technique. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you.